Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today. Got a fun game to preview tonight between the Steelers and the Browns. Big AFC North implications for these two teams, but fantasy implications for your lineups as well. And let's talk about a couple of the storylines here that we're looking at before we give you our DFS lineups on FanDuel and DraftKings. So the Browns, you know you're starting. You're starting Nick Chubb. You're probably looking at Kareem Hunt as a flex option. But the biggest question usually is, what do you do with Amari Cooper? Because Jacoby Brissett is not exactly the type of quarterback that's going to enhance his play, although last week it was a fantastic performance. 9 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown on 10 targets. But that was the Jets. Now we get the Steelers and that defense, and we know it's not the same without TJ Watt there, but still a very good opponent on the other side. So where do you guys come out on Amari Cooper? Start or sit in week number 3?
I'm ending up not liking Amari Cooper, so I'm going to sit him. He's run 61 routes so far this season. On 4 of the 61 routes, he's gone 16-plus yards downfield. I think it is a tough matchup. I think he's going to see plenty of man coverage. I think that works against Amari Cooper. Safety could be over the top because he is the top target there. He needs volume. He needs targets. He needs a touchdown. He needs what happened last week against an inferior defense to happen again on a short week against a better defense. And I don't see that happening. He's at best a number 3 receiver.
Well, I wonder how much he needs the other team to score. I'm just not sure the Steelers are going to score that much. This looks like a game where we might get 22 pass attempts out of Jacoby Brissett, and so I just don't know if there's enough targets there for Amari Cooper. I would like to stay away as well.
The one thing that we have seen is that a boundary receiver has had success against this defense. Obviously, It was Jamar Chase in week 1, different animal. But week 2, I mean, Nelson Aguilar had some plays, and clearly he's not the same player that Amari Cooper is. You could say Mac Jones and Jacoby Brissett are not far apart in terms of what they are in terms of as quarterbacks. Clearly, Mac Jones a little bit better, but Amari Cooper just a little bit still, to me, a little volatile. I want to see 2 games in a row of quality production before I'll buy back in. Well, we might. I mean, look, he's still a very good receiver. Unfortunately, the quarterback situation, not great. Let's talk about the Steelers, because we know Mitchell Trubisky is not exactly enhancing their play of the skill position players, and the offensive line's a problem. This Browns defense, although they're not going to have Jadeveon Clowney, still a very good unit on the other side. So where do we come out in terms of must-start options? Because most people are going to start Najee, they're going to start Deontay Johnson, probably going to start Pat Freiermuth, but are they great starts or are they just good starts because you drafted them to be starters? Heath, I'll start with you.
I feel pretty good about starting Deontay. I feel pretty good about starting Pat Freiermuth because he's a tight end. Najee is a low-end number 2 running back. I don't feel good about it at all, but I'm probably still going to start him as well. After that, there's really nobody you want to start.
I tend to agree. Definitely about the part where there's nobody else you want to start. I don't want to use Chase Claypool, even though he's gotten 4 catches in back-to-back weeks. He hasn't done anything with them. George Pickens is waiting around the corner, somebody that you could stash and hold on to.
Talk about Najee. So where are you at with him?
I like him. I think he's a number 2 fantasy running back, but he's leaving numbers on the field. If you've watched him play, a hole will be open. He misses it. He's running to contact. The offensive line, it's also a problem there in Pittsburgh. So until they get both of those things fixed, I think that Najee Harris is going to be just an okay fantasy runner and somebody who needs to score for you.
Well, I think you said it best. You didn't even hesitate. He's a number 2 running back. We didn't draft him to be a number 2 running back. We drafted him as, in most cases, now he started to fall, I think, into the second round, depending on when you picked, once we got the Liz Frank news. Obviously, he's still working his way back, I think. I don't know if he's 100% he's playing, but probably still has some lingering effects from that foot injury that he sustained in week 1. But yes, the fact that he's now a number 2 running back, it's almost like you have to treat him like you drafted him in the 4th round as opposed to maybe the 1st round. You're still starting him, but if we have another bad game or 2, given the circumstances, we maybe get to the point, if you have enough players, Jeff Wilson, somebody else who emerges, that you might be benching Najee Harris.
Maybe, but I also think there's room for him to improve.
Oh, for sure.
We've got like a few hours here before the game where you can make a trade for Najee Harris, because I still think he's got a lot of talent. This isn't an issue like other older running backs around the league.
He might be cheaper next week.
Might be.
He might be cheaper next week.
He might be cheaper 2 hours after tonight's game.
He also might get a quarterback change if Trubisky struggles.
And I think that will help.
Kenny Pickett may change some things for the Steelers. It might. Rookie quarterbacks can do some nice things. They could also be rookie quarterbacks, which is why he's on the bench probably to start the season. All right, let's talk about our DFS lineups. Heath, you're up first. Who's your lineup here on FanDuel?
Super excited about this shootout. I do have Trubisky actually in my captain spot because it's FanDuel and you just choose the highest projected player to go in the captain spot. I'm going to pair him up with George Pickens. They talked about getting a little bit more vertical in the passing game. Pickens is that guy. Pickens himself said he's been open on every route that he's run. Let's find out if he's right. Play both Browns running backs and the defense.
It makes me want to go back and double check those routes for Pickens, because if he is, he will get more work. So that's an interesting call. I originally had the Browns in my captain spot, the defense, and then Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And then I had enough left over because I didn't want to start a ton of Steelers. I could just start Nick Chubb. Why not get 1.5 points for every 10 yards he gets, whatever the scoring is? But I know that there's big bonuses involved. So yeah, very heavy on the Browns run game, very heavy on the Browns defense. Hopefully a lot of catches for Freiermuth and Deontay Johnson.
I like where you're going with the defense. I go on with the Steelers defense, though, Dave, because I think this is one play against Jacoby Brissett. Why not? Play against Jacoby Brissett. We saw the Steelers do a great job in Week 1. Granted, T.J. Watt was in that game of scoring touchdowns against the Bengals, and Joe Burrow, I think, is going to be a similar type performance. They're going to get after Brissett. They're going to make him uncomfortable, get some turnovers. If the Bengals, I keep saying the Bengals, if the Browns continue to make some production,
wishing it was the Bengals.
I am wishing it was the Bengals. I like to see Joe Burrow more so than Jacoby Brissett. But in any event, I think the Browns' run game, obviously you have to trust them. You got to trust Deontay Johnson, and hopefully we get some production from Najee Harris as well. So for me, it's going to be a defensive performance. I think we'll see the Steelers and the Browns both come through with some turnovers in this game. Did I say the Bengals again?
No.
Okay. The helmet's right in front of me. What's wrong with me? Let's talk about the props for the game tonight that we're playing. We like to take a look at the props on Caesar Sportsbook. So, Heath, give me a prop that you're looking at here, an over and under that makes the most sense to you.
Yeah, I think I've been the most skeptical of Najee Harris since draft season, and definitely this week at barely, not even my top 20 running backs, but the over-under for his receiving yards set at 17.5. He could get that in the first quarter. Get that on one play. Over 17.5 receiving yards for Najee Harris.
Definitely like that one. I'm a little worried about Mitchell Trubisky playing 4 quarters in this game and that Kenny Pickett eventually gets in there. So what about under half a touchdown? He doesn't throw a touchdown, and it's almost 2-to-1 odds on Mitchell Trubisky to do it. This Browns pass defense is good. They were embarrassed last week by Joe Flacco and Garrett Wilson and the Jets. I think they bounce back against the Steelers. Trubisky, nothing.
Does that mean sit Deontay Johnson?
No, Johnson can still get catches and yards.
Interesting there. I like that one. I'm going to go the over on the Jacoby Brissett interceptions because it's Jacoby Brissett and you're getting a plus number on this. So the Steelers, I think, will turn them over probably multiple times. So take the easy play, take the layup, over a half interception for Jacoby Brissett at plus 108 on Caesars Sportsbook.